And I think that's part of um, being female, is that we are taught that if you're a good girl, you do all your work and be quiet and keep your head down and do your work, and that'll be enough, and that will lead to your success, and that is such a big fat lie. Hi there, I am Lisa Fox and I am your confidence coach, Mama. Today I want to talk about a little bit of confidence. A spoonful of confidence helps the medicine go down. Um, so I just want to tell you a little bit about my background and why I'm so fucking on fire for this confidence piece. As some of you may know or have gathered by now, I have been a performer my whole life. I'm also a self-development junkie. But yeah, I started my performing career when I was an 8-year-old girl, playing the fiddle, Irish music, and I was deeply passionate about it. Like, loved it from the very beginning. Since then, I have been, I've become singer, dancer, actor mainly now, and yeah, so singer, dancer, actor, musician. I'm a performer through and through. Um, and but but even though I was a very good performer, really believed in my talent, um, was excellent, was and am like a seriously good performer. The big thing that I always struggled with, almost my whole life, was confidence. Um, and I mean, not just like wobbles that I was talking about yesterday, and I mean on Saturday, and on Friday, but I mean like full on like confidence catastrophes. I would not be able to talk to somebody without my whole face going red. And then I would start to think, they know because they're looking at me, they know my face is going red. And I would start to feel so nervous that I would then start sweating. And I would start, my mind would go blank and I wouldn't know what to say. And it was awful. And that was just in a normal conversation with somebody that I would know. It wouldn't even have to be it wouldn't, like, yeah, okay, that would definitely happen if it was a boy that I fancied. But I'm talking about sometimes just with a friend, it would happen. And it would happen with my parents sometimes, even. I was a mess. Um, and then, so for example, when I had to perform, I would get the shakes. I would vomit before performances. I would sometimes after a big performance, I would be sick for days. Um, and that was all nerves, but it was the nerves stemmed from serious confidence issues. Um, and that lasted up until my my 20s and my late 20s, early 30s. Um, so, but here's the thing, and why did I persevere? I thought, in fact, I knew deep down inside, I always had this belief that even though I knew I wasn't confident, I believed that my talent was enough. I believed that, and I, as I say, I knew that I was very talented. I knew that I was a great performer. I knew that I had so much creativity. I knew that I had so much to give. I knew that, um, like I could hear myself playing music and know that it was beyond what most other people that I knew or that I listened to could do. I knew that as an actor, I knew that I had something special. I knew that I knew that I was someone. I knew that there was something special in me, and I really truly believed that, and I thought that that was enough, and that it should be enough. And I knew that, and the other thing that I knew was that I was a really, really hard worker, and I believed that that should be enough, and I believed that that would be valued and seen above all else. And that was a big fat lie. That was a big fat fucking lie that I not only told myself, but that I'd been taught that if you do your work, if you keep your head down, if you and that was the other thing, I was taught to be modest. And I think that's part of being female, is that we are taught that if you're a good girl, you do all your work and be quiet and keep your head down and do your work, and that'll be enough, and that will lead to your success. And that is such a big fat lie that it actually makes me a little bit angry that that's what I was taught, because that's not what boys are taught, and it's also not true for either sex. It's just not true. It's not enough to do your work. It's not enough to be the best. It's not enough to be perfect. It's not. And actually, the biggest lie of all of that is, not only is it not enough, it's actually not even true. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get everything right. You don't have to keep your head down. You don't have to. Actually, all of those things, you get so caught up in doing all those things that's what actually holds you back. And that was such, when I learned this, it opened everything up for me. So I remember the last kind of big phase of my life where I really believed those lies was when I was training to be an actor, and when I was an actor in my first few years after graduating from my training. So I didn't do my acting training until I was in my late 20s, actually, and I spent my 2 years as a full-time student of acting, believing that, knowing my talent, knowing that how good I was, and believing that plus the work, the hard, dedicated, committed work that I was doing was all that was required for me to be noticed, seen, hired as an actor, to become an actor, to be successful as an actor. And I will never forget, so at the end of our second year of training, we had our various performances. We had a showcase, and we had a grad play, and we had a few bits and pieces. And the confusion that I felt in that time was so painful, because I did everything that I knew to do. I did everything that I was taught to do. I did everything that I was supposed to do. I was so dedicated. I did all my work. I showed up no matter what. I was perfect in every way. And I did my showcase and my grad play, and the agents came and the industry came to these events, and I was ready to be seen, and I performed really well. And then it was all over, and there wasn't a dicky bird. Not the sound of a dicky bird. My friends and colleagues in my class were getting calls. No, not everybody, but the other people who either I felt were on the same level as I was and were really talented, or also a lot of people who I didn't think had put the work in, or I didn't think had the same talent that I had, were getting calls, we're getting signed up by agents, we're getting parts in ads and plays and TV shows and films. And I was literally doing that cliche, sitting there waiting for the fucking phone to ring. And it didn't. And so I decided, right, okay, well, I'm not working hard enough. And I made sure that I put myself forward for auditions. I tried really hard to get an agent. I, put on plays myself. I worked for free. I put myself out there so much. And 3 years of that passed before I actually got any paying work, and actually got an agent and got booked for acting work. And the big change that happened before I actually broke into the industry was that I decided, well, I thought about it after all the pain that I felt. I sat down and analysed it. I did loads of reading. I did lots of inner work. And I asked myself, what if, and this is the crux of it, what if all of the work that I've done is already enough? What if the talent that I have, the way it is, and what I have to offer as an actor is already enough, and that's there, and I can take that for granted, and I don't need to do any more work specifically on that? And what if instead I worked on my game? Because I could see, it took me a long, painful time to see it, but it was because I didn't want to see this. I could see the people who were getting work. It wasn't because they were particularly talented or worked particularly hard. Yes, of course, some of them were talented, and yes, of course, some of them worked hard. But I, having analysed it to death, could see that once I accepted it, that it wasn't because of that they were getting work. The reason and the difference between them and me was that they had game, that they had confidence, and they had a bit of swag. Even if I thought that they had no place having that swag, even if I thought that they had no place having the confidence they had, the fact was that they had it, and the fact was that it was working for them. And I struggled for so long with this and didn't accept it for so long because it wasn't fair. Because I didn't think it was fair, because it didn't go along with what I had been taught was correct and right, the way to operate in the world. Good girls work hard, keep their head down, and they're perfect. And they don't challenge the status quo. They're humble. They wait to be validated. They wait to be seen. And that's what I'd been taught. And when I saw other people doing it a different way and having success, I was like, that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not how it's supposed to work. That's not how I was told it was going to work. And then a switch went off. A switch flipped inside me. And I was like, well, okay, it's not fair. Okay, so maybe they're not playing by the rules that I have in my head or the rules that I was taught. But if I want success, I'm going to play by these other rules that seem to be working for other people. And I decided that instead of working on my talent, and again, it's not that I didn't think it was important at all, because it was important to me. I didn't want to be a really successful and shit actor. I wanted to be a really successful, good actor. So I decided that maybe I am a good actor. Maybe I don't need to do any more work on that. And instead what I need to work on is my confidence and my game. And I went on a journey. But here's the thing. As soon as I started on the journey, as soon as I took the first step of the journey, that's when things changed dramatically. That's when I started getting work. I didn't have to have all of it figured out before I started to see the results of this. And it was just, and then suddenly this thing that I was working on became fun because I was starting to see success. And I started to think, well, what if I tried this? And what if I did this? And what if that might work? And I figured out this whole sequence of steps that I could take for myself that would lead to my success, that led to my success every single time. And so that not only works, by the way, I always have a few notes written down beside me because I go on tangents and I lose my train of thought. So I will always be kind of looking down and go, what was I going to say next? But so then I thought, well, if this will work for me in my acting career, what else will it work for? And guess what? It works for motherfucking everything. It works for every area of life. Everything that I have endeavored to do since then, I bring this confidence process to it. And it works. And it doesn't work till I work it. That's the guarantee that I know. But it's the formula that I told you about. The overall general formula is confidence. So I have a bunch of confidence techniques that I use. And I add to that my faith that it will work. There's a lot more to it than these two things, but this is what I'm here for. This is what I've realized. I am on this earth. I figured this out and I want to teach it to others. And I have already taught it to hundreds. Actually, I've over 1,000 children have come through my performance arts school, and I have taught this process to all of them. The confidence part of it. I have never before taught. I've never before taught the faith part of it, but I didn't have the confidence to do that because I had never really spoken about it before. I'd never really articulated it before, and now I've started articulating it, and the people I'm talking to about it are lit up by it. So I know that it's important. These confidence techniques that I have, plus the faith that I have and that I can teach, equals success. And it's all coming from my background as a performer. But I've tested it out in every area of my life, including my relationships with my children, my husband, my family, my friends. I've tested this out with money, with my wealth. I've tested this out with my health. And I've tested this out with my work on a regular basis. Confidence plus faith equals success. And this is what I'm here to teach you. And this is not something that's going to be, a 20-minute video or a 15-minute video. This is going to be something that I'm going to be here for ages, for years probably, talking about. And I just never get sick of this stuff because it was such a revelation for me that I know it will be for other people too. And of course, there are people ahead of me who figured this shit out ages ago. I wish I was one of them, but I'm not. This took me a long time to figure it out, but man, I have figured it out now, and I am so excited to teach it to other people and to share it with other people. So thank you so much for being here with me, and thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to give you this process. And that's all I really wanted to say today. So I'm Lisa Fox. This is Lioness Tribe Facebook group. And remember, confidence plus faith equals success.